Just wanted to make a video on it real quick, but we're finally at the time. Free agency starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'm recording this on Monday, hopefully to post this on Tuesday, right before free agency hits. But I just wanted to go over a couple of guys for the San Antonio Spurs personally and who they should um, go and try to sign while also re signing some of the guys that they have on their current roster or had on their current roster now that they're free agents. But first, some of the guys that they should bring back. News broke today that Julian Champagny, he wasn't a free agent, but he was I believe, team option, and they denied the team option for 3 years. Not 3 years. He was getting paid 3 million this upcoming year, so they denied that team option, and they decided to sign him for 3 years, 45 million deal. First off, that is a cheap deal. I believe that he deserved more. I was hearing reports that he was probably going to get somewhere around 2022, and I honestly thought, hey, that's reasonable, right? Up there with Devin Vassell, a little bit less, but still, 3 and D guy. Devin Vassell does have a little bit better defense, but I thought he was worth it. So to hear a deal come out at 3 years for 15 million, 45 mil in total, I think that's a steal. I think that's actually really good value for Julian Champagny. I honestly thought this is actually a pretty cheap deal for what he is worth. Another report came out that we resigned Harrison Barnes 1 year, 8 million. Not too much of a big pickup other than veteran presence. He does see a couple of minutes on the floor, but I do believe that he could give value here and there, but mostly veteran presence. And I mean, it's a 1 year deal, 8 mil. It's not too bad. It's something that's standard, something cheap and off the books by next year. But two other people that I do want the Spurs to resign is Bismack Biyombo, specifically for vet presence. He's been on the team. He's been one of Victor's mentors, and I think that we just keep it going. He's probably going to take the very minimum, and I mean, Victor loves him. Team loves him. He's one of the most vocal guys in that locker room. So I honestly think that re-signing him wouldn't even be that big of a deal. He's going to be super cheap. He's going to fill out a roster spot, and I mean, I don't see why not. Another guy that I do think that they should bring back is David Jones Garcia. He was shining in the G League. He was shining at the very in summer league last year until he tore something in his knee. I don't remember exactly what the injury was, but he ended up being out, shut down for the season, and I wanted to see more of him. He was a prolific scorer. He was pretty um, like he could get hot whenever. And I wanted to see more of him, especially in the roster, especially with the bench not able to score during the playoffs. I think he would have been a great acquisition. And I mean, he's pretty cheap still. Not a lot of the league knows about him, but I feel that you should try signing him now. Now I don't know about a long term deal, but maybe like a short term deal. I don't mind the Spurs bringing him back one bit. I kind of hope we do actually. But honestly, everybody else, I don't mind the Spurs letting go of Lindy Waters. I don't mind the Spurs letting go of Mason Plumlee, Kelly Olynyk. All the free agents that we have that weren't really getting played time, I have no concern of us bringing them back. We are about to pay Wemby. We're still paying Keldon. We're still paying Devin, and we just re-signed Champagny, Harper, Castle. I mean, Harper's not really like his contract's not coming up, but you don't want to get to that point where it is coming up, and then you don't have enough money to sign. So for that reason, I'm perfectly fine with them letting all the other free agents on the Spurs go. We filled out most of the center position, power forward position, but I do think that, like I said, there are some notable candidates within free agency that I wanted to actually speak about. First off, we're gonna go some of the lower end ones, and I'm gonna go through these fast. I mean, not too much to say about them. Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga, you saw him with Atlanta. Obviously, he had his whole Golden State Warriors situation, but you saw him with Atlanta, and I mean, he was pretty good, especially in that playoff series against the Knicks. Considering that Atlanta was the team to make the Knicks go the most games, 6 games. Spurs couldn't even do that. Spurs took him 5. Knicks went on a historic run, but Jonathan Kuminga and the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, it wasn't all Kuminga, but he was one of the big parts of that team. And I think that them declining his team option and him becoming I believe, a restricted free agent, um, says a lot. I don't know what the Hawks' plans are, whether they're trying to sign a maybe long term deal, but I thought it was an interesting choice, and he's going to hit the free agent market. So I guess we'll see what happens, but I do expect him to be on one of the higher end deals because he's young, he's talented. I don't see why not. And that's the only thing that's straying me away from wanting to see him on the Spurs, specifically because of how expensive he might be. I'm afraid that he's going to be too expensive. And honestly, if he's that expensive, he's not someone that we need to get. He would be a great acquisition, but he's not someone that we need to get. That's the only reason that he's lower down on the list, due to the fact that he might be too expensive. So another guy, which I actually think that this guy could be pretty cheap, and he's been in San Antonio before. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his first name because I know that I'm gonna mess it up. But Mamu. Mamu is a Spurs native. He was on the Spurs, not native, but we picked him up. He was on the Spurs last year. Great power forward center, and he was a big reason that Toronto even made the playoffs this season. I thought he was doing phenomenal. He could stretch the floor. He could shoot the three. I mean, we saw him score the most points in the shortest amount of time last year or 2 years ago, I believe. But Mamu would be a great acquisition. He knows the system, he knows the culture, he knows the teammates. He already has chemistry. I think he would be a pretty good cheap deal. I don't think he's gonna request that much money compared to some of the other free agents that I'm about to list, but I do think that he would be a great acquisition. Another name that I would not mind is Matisse Thybulle. I thought Matisse Thybulle deserved way more minutes in that Portland series. I thought that Tiago Splitter, I'm not sure why you were not playing Thybulle. Maybe I missed something on his current play. Maybe he regressed, but from what I've seen when he was with the 76ers, from what I've seen when he was with Portland even earlier this year, he was doing pretty good, man. He's going to give you a good minutes. The only thing is, he cannot really shoot that well. His offensive game is not really as developed as you might wish. He can't really stretch the floor. He's great defensively. He might hit a couple of threes every now and then, a couple of shots, but he is mostly defense. And like I said, I wouldn't mind them bringing him in, but I don't think he's one of the acquisitions that you want to make currently. He would fit the defensive prowess that the Spurs would accountable to, but I don't think that he is a current free agent at the top of the list. Another one would be Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. can shoot the lights out. We do need someone who could score, especially coming off the bench. I think that, especially in the playoffs, our bench points were a problem. Only bench player that was scoring was Dylan Harper, man, and Dylan Harper could not carry the entire load. We were getting outscored from OKC and the Knicks, and I wouldn't say the Timberwolves just because they had the same I think depth as us, but I mean, once you factor in like Shannon and Nas, specifically from coming off the bench, our bench points are just getting outshined by every other team. And it was a problem because our starting five was having to pick up all the slack. So it was pretty hard. That's why I wouldn't mind bench shooting. Tim Hardaway Jr. can shoot the lights out, and I think that he would be a great acquisition. I wouldn't trust him defensively, but like I said, it's our Spurs. The defense on the Spurs is one of the best defenses in the league, and I do think that Tim Hardaway Jr. he might make it regress a little bit, but I don't think too much, specifically because I think that the other players can pick up the slack, and he's mostly for scoring, and I think he would be a cheaper deal just due to his age. Another player that I wouldn't mind bringing in is Dominic Barlow, another past Spur. Dominic Barlow is a great stretch big. He was with Philly, and I think he gave them great minutes in the playoffs, great minutes throughout the regular season. He can score. He can play defense. I mean, he knows the Spurs culture. He's like Mamu. He knows the teammates. He has chemistry. Um, I'm not sure what type of deal he might command. I do think that he does resign with the 76ers, considering that he is probably getting the most interest from them. But Dominic Barlow would not be a bad sign for the Spurs. I don't mind y'all bringing him back. I think that he would be a great acquisition. He could stretch the floor, something that we've been missing, and he could come off the bench and score, something that we all also been missing. Um, Getting into the higher ones, probably my top ones would be John Collins, man. John Collins on the Clippers was doing really good. I mean, you saw him with Atlanta, you saw him with Utah. Um, and he's a great scorer. He can play some pretty solid defense. He's young. The only problem is the contract that he might command. The contract that he might command is probably more on the expensive side, but after the year with the Clippers, I'm not sure it's going to be something that he was commanding out of Atlanta, obviously. So, depending on what he might command, I wouldn't mind him signing with the Spurs. Just, I think that the deal might be a little bit too expensive for the Spurs personally, especially if he's not going to be our starting power forward, meaning Carter Bryant's role is officially demoted to bench, which I mean, it wasn't a starter, but I do see him going into next season as more of a starting position, especially at the power forward. Though, if we do sign John Collins, I think that it would completely diminish to a second role, which I am completely fine with. The only thing is, um, John Collins, I mean, he could score, he could play, like I said, he could score, he could play defense. He would be a great starter for us. The only thing is, he's going to command starter money, and I don't know if we'll be able to afford it, but I do think that he is one of the most realistic candidates on this list. Another one that I would say is probably my favorite on this list, someone that I've been wanting the Spurs to trade for, and I think would fit perfectly in his role, especially if as a starter, but Rui Hachimura. Rui Hachimura is kind of like Julian Champagny, but I think a little bit better at defense. And I think he just is able to shoot the lights out in from three. His 3 point percentage is great, especially in playoffs. I believe it's reaching 40%. And he is a power forward. He could go get you boards. He could dunk. He could drive. He has dribble moves. He could play defense. He could go get you a board. Like, he is probably the smoothest transition to the Spurs that I've mentioned so far. I think he would fit his role perfectly. I think he would be a perfect acquisition. I don't think he's too expensive, and I think that he just knows the culture. He's not that loud of a person. He's not someone who's gonna um, command too much money. He's not someone who's going to cause problems. I think he, like I said, fits perfectly in with the Spurs organization. I think that while I do think that the Lakers might, obviously give him the best interest, and maybe other teams who have a little bit more cap space, but the Lakers just signed Austin Reeves. They're trying to maybe re-sign LeBron, and I'm not sure if they're able to re-sign Roy Hachimura. So I think I would love him on the Spurs. I would honestly be the happiest, and I really do hope that we are able to go get him because he has the scoring, he has the defense, something that we were missing in the playoffs, especially with the scoring. And he could be the perfect power forward. He could guard 1 through 5, and I wouldn't even mind a little bit less on the 5, but I think he perfect switchability. He's honestly the perfect candidate for the Spurs in free agency, but I guess we'll see. Lastly, a wild card, obviously, but probably the most unrealistic, if I'm being honest, LeBron James. So, LeBron James, I mean, end of his career, you know, carried the Lakers, especially with Luca and Austin Reeves out. Him, Marcus Smart, and Luke Kennard were able to take down the Rockets. KD list, obviously, but still, um, I mean, I'm not a Rockets fan. I have nothing nice to say about them. But Um, I mean, he was able to hit some big time shots. He still had it, right? Obviously, he's lost a step. He's not someone who's going to jump out of the gym anymore. But still, his physicality, his defense, his scoring, I mean, it's still one of the some of the top of the league, and I think that veteran presence along with a perfect candidate like to be a power forward. Obviously, as much as I do want Rui Hachimura, it's LeBron James. Like I'm not going to say no to LeBron James. Um, a 1 or 2 year deal, specifically ring chasing, I wouldn't even mind it. Mentor Carter Bryant, mentor Jaden Quintons, Victor Wembanyama, Harper. Like he doesn't even have to mentor specifically the power forward, small forward role. He could mentor the entire team. This is one of, if not the greatest player of all time. For him to possibly be on this roster would be astronomical for the development, would be almost, I wouldn't say a certified ring because anything can happen, but still, it's LeBron James. If you have LeBron James on your team, you have a chance at winning the championship. Simple as that. It's that big. He's that big of an acquisition. He's that talented of a player. And I do think that while expense is something that strays me away from specific candidates, they don't offer what LeBron James offers. And maybe this sounds like glaze, but I do think that a 1 or 2 year deal isn't going to break the bank, specifically because it's right before Steph gets paid. It's right before Harper gets paid. It's hitting when Victor Wembanyama's full-time extension is going to start kicking in. So I do think that it would be a good 1 to 2 year deal, end off his career, maybe win a chip or two. And I wouldn't mind it, man. I think LeBron James, while unrealistic, I wouldn't mind him coming to a small market in San Antonio, but I guess we'll see where he goes, you know. But yeah, with free agency starting tomorrow, those are some of the candidates that I have on my radar in hopes for the Spurs to sign. While I did mention a lot, like some of them, I mean, yes, they're free agents, but I mean, the Spurs aren't going to be able to sign all of them, especially with signing a bunch of bigs or drafting 3 bigs in the draft. With, I mean, Malik Brown being more of a small forward, power forward, but still, I do think that it is less likely for them to get 2 power forwards, especially. They do need shooting, so that's specifically why I added Tim Hardaway Jr., Kelly Oubre, and I mean Rui Hachimura. As much as they do would do well with the shooting guard, I do believe that those 3 individuals, 4 individuals that I'm maybe not naming, could bring some scoring prowess to the bench or even the starting lineup. Right? I mean, you're not going to play the same starting lineup the entire game. Obviously, switches, and I think that they would be do profound work within the role that they're given. But yeah, some of those candidates I do hope we sign. I guess we'll find out starting tomorrow. But if you like the video, feel free to give me a like, subscribe, maybe comment some of your thoughts, and maybe some of your favorite free agency players. But yeah, thank y'all.